Well, I guess we're going to start this one a little bit earlier today. Welcome back, guys. This is Solana Made Simple, powered by Zeus Network, and that is a quick intro for us today. How you doing today, Jules?
Doing good. How about you?
Couldn't wait to get started if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But now it's heard you had a birthday weekend, huh?
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
How was that?
Yeah, birthday was actually last Thursday, but yeah, had a little fun this weekend, a little bit of time off, and back at it now.
That's what it's all about, man. You got to enjoy your life a little bit. So happy birthday, happy belated. And if you guys don't get on this timeline and tell them happy belated birthday, I'm coming after all of you. But no, I'm just kidding. But welcome back again. This is Solana Made Simple, powered by Zeus Network, episode 4. Let me see if I can get this little caption up here, tell you a little bit about what we're doing today. We're going to be talking about the institutional surge on Solana. We've definitely seen a huge pickup on participation. We've seen just interest in general. We got a lot of ETFs that are pending, some that are live, some corporate treasuries that are kind of doing some things. So we're going to be breaking it down how institutions, not just retail investors, are starting to show up on Solana in a big way. Like I said, ETFs, corporate treasuries, staking, and even Bitcoin coming on chains through Zeus Network. And shout out to them for making this happen. And just 1 second, we'll take a little peek at what they got cooking. Alrighty, you guys, check it out. Make sure you go give them a follow, support them. And if you are not, getting involved with ZBTC and understanding that this is Bitcoin with the execution layer of Solana, it's just very fast Bitcoin work. It works, it's composable. A lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm excited about it. But again, I'm SMS community lead and social media lead at Marinade Finance. You guys heard the announcement yesterday, as well as a master chef. I'm also content marketing and lead at DD Gaming, and also, of course, proud member of the Zeus working group. And as always, I got my guy Jules here with me. He's going to break down the market highlights, any key insights to help us cut through the noise. If you want to get into it, kind of share some of that, and then we'll dive into the bigger topic here.
Yeah, this last week's news is kind of going to be based or almost similar to kind of the narrative of today, talking about institutional surge. Obviously, that's really the hot topic anymore. Anyway, is all the different things coming along in that regard. So. Excuse me. So first of all, Circle has launched ARC, the home for stablecoin finance. So basically designed to provide like an enterprise grade foundation for payments, FX, capital markets. It's going to be USDC as native gas, built-in FX engine, deterministic sub-second finality, so on and so forth. So again, theme being stable coins, especially it's kind of the hot topic right now. To take it a step further, MetaMask is reportedly gearing up to launch its own US dollar pegged stable coin that would be assumedly called MS or MUSD. Not sure if I missed it while I was gone, if an actual full-on announcement came out at the time last week when I noted this. We thought that might be coming in the next week, though. Other than that, Pantera Capital has invested over $300 million in crypto treasury companies, $300 million in digital asset treasury companies, which hold large crypto reserves named to grow token holdings per share. And, that ranges a little bit from, like ETH, ETF filings, things like that, like Bitcoin immersion is one of Pantera's top positions. It's grown ETH per share by 330% in its first month. Things like that. So again, basically the moral of the story here is all about institutions. I mean, we've got stable coins coming more and more. I don't think anyone watching would not be aware of this, that this has been in the works all year and before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, retail adoption puts Solana on the map, but Now institutions are showing the real interest, like you're talking about. We're talking big money managers, ETFs, even corporates, institutions putting SOL into their treasuries. I mean, that's huge. We got a couple examples we're going to kind of break down, but that's important because institutions bring long-term sustainability. They're not here to flip meme coins. They're not here to manage billions of dollars with a serious, or they're here to manage billions of dollars with a serious outlook on yield and growth for long-term sustainability. Solana is positioned perfectly to capture that attention. And to your point, I mean, we're hearing it every single day. We're hearing and seeing headlines. We're seeing it in the news. It's pretty exciting to see where we're at. I mean, me and you were talking about a little bit of a pullback right here, but again, I think it's just a good time for people to get a little bit more positioned. So,
yeah, and and I would say to take it a step further, even though we're talking about Solana, obviously most of ETFs, treasury companies, this isn't just a Solana thing, but the point is that obviously you're going to, and I'll, probably touch on this a little bit more here in a little bit, but you're going to you go down the line from BTC to ETH, now SOL, things like that. With time, while these grow, we're going to even see other, I don't know, I can't speak to who we will see for sure, but you're going to see other token listings and things like that too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely around the corner. It's like one of those things that as soon as one person makes that move and breaks through the ice, it's like it just opens up that floodgate, and you just see it pouring in. I mean, it's one of those things. There's probably people just sitting there waiting for somebody else to pull the trigger and be like, "All right, you make the mistake first, and then we'll jump on after that."
And that's totally true. I mean, depending on their risk aversion, some of them will be waiting for certain aspects and kind of see. Like right now, I mean, I don't think anyone would be concerned with the BTC, ETF, things like that. But yeah, again, that's something we're going to get into here, because keep in mind that while we talk about ETFs, we're talking about really spot ETFs.
Yeah.
So we take it a step further now and say, okay, people have started with BTC.
Yeah.
Started with ETH. Now we're starting to look at Solana filings. Okay,
right.
So what we're doing is going down the line, and this is all spot. And then essentially then people are like, okay, now how do I get a little more risk appetite involved versus 1-2%?
Well, the spot ETFs, for you guys, you're watching this and wondering what we're talking about, they're just tracking the price for the most part. They're just stacking it at that point. They're not generating the yield, and that's where what's unique about Solana, that it's not just digital gold like Bitcoin. It's programmable. It has staking, DeFi, real yield opportunities, and that's where ZBTC is huge in my opinion. It makes it very attractive compared to traditional bonds, traditional cash holdings, especially in a world where interest rates are, plateauing.
Yeah, so we could take it a step further there and say, obviously that's kind of where I'm going with this spot ETFs. Okay, now we're talking about spot prices of Bitcoin and ETH. Okay, Now you start talking, all right, spot prices of Solana. Well, then you start talking about the ability to stake Solana, earn some real returns. As we know, Marinade, I believe, is probably the number one out there right now, if I recall, at what's the percentage currently? Average APY 8% or something like that.
Yeah, it's about, last I checked, it was like 7.7. So I'd say
7.7, close to
yep.
8. All right, so
close enough.
But to take it to where you were saying with that is, though, okay, so we know these ETH ETFs and BTC are they're just spot. So Solana, so we're already going to start to see the risk appetite grow for a little bit more return. So we're talking Solana staking. Now, what about BTC staking? And that's where you're going with that. Like, why? The point is, like, the floodgates start opening all these different things, and we're going to be going down the line. I'm not saying they're going to be not staking, but buying spot and meme coins. But like, I'm just saying, like, down the line on the risk, the risk curve a little bit, So
yeah, they got to test the waters a little bit. And I mean, one of the things is, I think the complexity. I mean, I know that these guys are smart. They manage money. They've been around the block, but it's like there still are certain intricacies that these guys have to learn. They have to understand. That's where I tell people, learn this stuff now. I think that what we do and what we talk about, the spaces, the streams, this is technically, the beginning of the curriculum. It's what people are going to be going to learn. That's why creating Solana Made Simple, breaking this stuff down. Not everybody, dives that deep into this, but I want to jump a little bit more into the Solana ETS. We have a big list, a couple of them that are pending. We got some that are actually live. So Let's start with the ETFs, the exchange traded funds. These are products that allow institutions and regular investors to buy sole exposure through the brokerage account. No wallets, no keys, just a ticker. So the list that we have here, we put this together for you guys. It's a list of Solana ETFs that have been filed with the SEC so far. First off, we have Van Eck Solana Trust. It's the first U.S. Solana ETF application filed in June of 2024. We've got 21 shares core Solana ETF also filed June 2024, planning to list on SIBO BZX. I don't know what that is. But we got Bitwise, Grayscale, Canary Solana ETF filed late 2024 into early 2025. And we got Franklin, Templeton, Solana ETF, Fidelity, filed March 2025 with the plan to stake part of its Solana holdings. So that's pretty cool there. And then we've got Invesco, Galaxy, and last one on the list here is Galaxy Digital Solana. So that one was also filed. And all of these are basically within the last 16 months, I would assume, that they've been filed, but maybe a little bit longer, give or take a couple months. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the last, and you've got half of them probably have probably even done it this year, and a couple in the in the between summer or something like that.
Yeah,
so
Solana summer.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely growing pretty quickly. I think we assume, and this is pretty similar to how it worked before on some ETFs. I think we're expecting that SEC approval in October.
Yeah, it's a key month for us to watch. I think that you're going to see a little bit of like we talked about this before when we were looking at the charts, and I think it kind of played out to the T. Over this weekend where we kind of took that dip, and I kind of think we kind of simmer a little bit through till September and then ramp it back up.
Yeah, if you mean simmer through September, that's my thought.
Yeah, like it's going to go all
get
the way
into that a little bit later when we look at the charts, but that's my assumption. We could probably use a little cooling there, whether people like that or not. But if you get that SEC approval going in October, Again, it all based around liquidity, but that would time out to how most of us would assume with Q4 and all that.
Give me 1 second. My
I'm just saying, did you freeze? While you're doing that, I actually had a point I was going to bring up, and there's not necessarily any correlation, but it just depends on timing. BTC spot ETFs opened up around when the price was around 46K back in like January 11 to 2024. It actually showed substantial growth in price with volume over 2024 and 2025. See, you're back now, but yeah. So when the ETFs opened up around that price, I mean, so already we went over 120K. So I mean, just shows the institutional surge, and it was basically a lot of this was really based on the amount of volume that was coming into these. ETH ETFs were a bit of a different story, so it's a tough read, but like
right,
that was just because of the time frame on kind of where it started. ETH was kind of a weird spot, timing plus the things going on in the background with, how would I say, ETH. Either way, ETH made its comeback. We'll say that. So obviously, that's still important. So that's why we do want to bring that up, because any of these digital asset ETFs here are, whether you're a sole person or not. I assume if you're here, you probably are. But ETH is still important. We need that institutional inflow. So these ETH ETFs are very important, and
I don't think there's something to kind of dismiss. And sorry about that. Some alarm went off and it kind of kicked me off of here. But I didn't even know I had an alarm set for today for whatever reason. But either way, Ethereum ETFs came later, and the market clearly didn't respond as strong. But it's something that I don't think people should be like, oh no, they're all going to Solana. It's like, no, I think that they're just positioning themselves, getting kind of ready for that that opportunity and that to happen there.
Yeah, we need to realize as a market, that's how it's going to be. I mean, there's going to be, people are going to have their own interests in different things. Where I'd say the important thing with the ETH ETFs I wanted to bring up is that, so Sol already has obviously the ability to stake and things like that, like you talked about. Now for these ETH ETFs, we're talking spot only. So
right,
where are they going to go with that? It actually is an interesting case for all of this because it makes an interesting case for Solana, first of all, and then second of all for the ETH side of it. I don't know how they're going to handle it yet. I mean, you can see. I had some notes saying there are two possible approaches where like rewards can be credited to the fund's NAV or net asset value through accretion. This means rewards stay in the fund, increase value of each share rather than being paid out shareholders. This would likely defer taxable events, or they could do the rewards being paid out as income or dividends. Either way,
that means you'd actually see the yield, but it would trigger taxable events each year with that one, right?
So it makes it, I would say, I mean, again, you know, I don't mean to just favor Solana here, but I would say it makes it interesting in the fact that Solana is a little more cut and dry on how this will work.
Right.
And we already see the institutional interest coming this way for this purpose. Now, obviously, the overall point, again, institutions, as you already alluded to, they're going to have different risk appetites and they'll have different preferences, things like that. So plenty of people are going to be fine with Ethereum ETFs, especially with the way the price has moved. Let's say you're still getting, you know, I mean, you're getting a huge return. So like,
yeah.
But either way, it makes it, I guess where I'm going with that is with the staking ability. That's where Solana's really, I mean, this is, I would say for everyone out there, like, again, BTC ETFs, Ethereum ETFs are going to move first, obviously, but then like the Solana thing is going to be pretty large.
I agree.
That's the easiest way to
and this is a big deal because if ETFs choose to pass staking rewards onto investors, that creates an entirely new yield product for traditional finance. And I think people will be, it'll be appealing to people. Imagine holding a sole ETF in your retirement account and actually earning staking rewards, not just price speculation. That's income, you know? That's a secret weapon. I think that's what's key. It's one of the things that is, again, one of the most attractive points to get into this. And I don't know. I think it's an easy way to also onboard, because once you start doing that, I think people start wondering, well, I got this over here. Let me get involved into the actual ecosystem, because you're going to start tuning into calls. Like traditional finance people, they typically tune into that kind of stuff, the stuff that we kind of dismiss and we're like, you know, a little bit more renegade when it comes to it. But that's how I learned in traditional finance, was to tune into the calls, tune into updates and broadcasts and stuff like that. But it's going to be exciting to see. Again, this fall, I think we can see some amazing things. I mean, just imagine if Bitcoin hits 200K, we get approval with these ETFs. You're going to see inflows left and right. You're just going to see craziness in the market, I would imagine. I mean, even Trump recently was talking about like 4 to 6 months, you're going to see a boom in the U.S. economy, and it's like, what is everybody planning? Are these things lining up together? And it's a very exciting place to be for a crypto investor or anybody new to the space, just learning about it. I was at the gym last night. I heard two dudes in the sauna. They were talking about going into college next year. And I kind of was just listening to them. And I was like, you guys good at math? Are you guys good at reading? And blah, blah, blah. Just kind of shooting the shit with them. I was like, pay attention to Solana, pay attention to Bitcoin, start looking into this and like read into it. And I gave them, all of my contacts. I was like, if you guys ever want to, talk more about it. But I think having those conversations with people that are getting into the space, because he's thinking that there's only one way around it. I'm like, pay attention to this, because I think there is going to be a point where this stuff matters. I think this is going to tie into finance in a larger scale once these things are approved. You could imagine if a year or two this is passed, it's going to be everyday conversation. It's not just going to be speculation like we're talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I just feel like, I don't mean to keep almost saying the same thing, but it's all like risk spectrum. So like, and this isn't like heavy risk by any means, but like the spot Solana exposure combined with like on-chain staking rewards is the next step. Like we've already got all these ETF, like it's not even, we'll say this, it's a certainty that tons of institutions are doing the ETF thing. It's a certainty that, at least in my opinion, it's a certainty that we'll see Solana ETFs or more of them. That's not an issue. That I'm sure it'll get approved. So again, the next point is to start getting more on-chain staking rewards, and and how it works is this stuff's all getting figured out in the background. By the time we're talking about it, this has already been they've been working on this for a while, figuring out how they want to do this.
Mhm.
And so, like SSK, for example, Solana Fund, that's like the first US listed ETF to combine spot Solana exposure with on-chain staking rewards. So essentially, that's good. I just don't see how people are not going to be heading that direction.
Mhm.
I mean, staking income like dividends, that's gonna be basically some people are going to be looking for more yield.
Yeah,
So
and
at
one of the
some
things
point,
that
it's
I
like,
think
yeah,
that sticks out is with Marinade Finance, you have Marinade Select, and that's for the institutionals to be able to pick their own specific validators and stuff. But there's a lot of reasons that I think that Marinade has an upper hand in this situation when it comes to that and providing that tool for staking and for these institutions, because they're gonna be able to gain massive yield on there. I mean, they're not talking small dollars, like they're talking big money. And once that's locked up, once they have full control and they see that, hey, this is a little different, we have a little bit more control of what we're doing, I think that really does pull some weight. And it's a domino effect. You'll see one and then another and another, and it's just everybody's going to be involved. You're going to be able to basically walk through the marketplace and you just pick out which validator you want to get involved with. And I'm excited for that. I think that one of the things is SSK used the Investment Company Act of 1940, which does allow it. It means that their fund can pay staking income like dividends, and them being the first movers for that, for institution, it's a game changer. It's not just speculating like we're talking about with the price, they're earning yield from staking. Plus, you also have to talk about, let's say Solana goes up to $420 this year. Like you have so many benefits with it. I think it's just too easy sometimes, and people are looking at it that way. When I talk to people, it's like I compare traditional, high yield savings accounts, and you're only getting 3 to 4%. You have stability, you have all of that, but you're stuck there. You don't have any growth on the dollar,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the other part about it is just bottom line staking your Solana, you're protecting your bag. Even if you're not looking at it as I'm trying to get all this reward, I'm trying to get the max rewards, but you're protecting it against the inflation side of, Solana inherently. And I think that the maturation of this entire space and the more understanding of how these tools work, the mechanics of them, and being able to remove the sandwichers and the bad actors, it's just providing a better atmosphere and a better ecosystem in general, not just a monetary gain opportunity or anything of that nature. But I just think that it's fitting into a bigger trend. Institutions are shifting towards this as a new alternative to bonds and fixed income. When treasury yields plateau and Bitcoin slows down, staking income looks more and more attractive to the the investor.
Yeah, and taking another step here. When Ethereum, and this was a fast move down and then up, but let's say when it made its move down below 1,500, I mean, I'll admit, everybody pretty much thought ETH was dead, but
yeah,
now
they said that at $8 with Solana, man.
So that's my point. So like ETH ETFs were already going before that.
Yeah.
So they're getting spot exposure all the way down to 1,500, and you're like, what are these guys doing? Well, literally that happened in April.
Yeah.
So so already by August, it's it topped to like almost 4,800 or whatever it was. So like my point where I was going with that is if you think all these ETFs were like, oh my God, what are they doing spot ETFs on ETH? Okay, they're not looking pretty stupid now. So like imagine the next wave is coming onto Solana. That's kind of my point, is that it might not seem, not that anyone thinks Solana is like dead or anything like that, but I'm just saying price wise it can definitely skyrocket.
Absolutely. I think that's pretty evident. I mean, you don't have to hope and wish that the company, and all of their business practices are productive. I mean, you see a lot of companies that aren't, profitable year over year. I mean, they're great companies. They're providing, they're doing everything that they're supposed to, but there is that point. And I think that the ones that are moving their treasuries over to Sol, they're creating a little bit more yield by just holding their funds in there and being able to take advantage of it. It's if we want to move over to this little bit, talking about the corporate treasuries and buying Sol, it's not just ETFs. The corporations are also stacking Solana in their treasuries, just like we saw with Bitcoin a few years ago. A couple examples, I made a video about this one. First off is Upexi. They increased from 735,000 sold in June to over 200 million in July. That's huge. That's huge. They're getting like 26 million in yield.
Yeah, so it's a good segue into another area is treasury companies. We only have to talk about ETFs the whole time. There's literally treasury companies. This is a smaller sector right now, but
these are the first movers, though. This is where you want to like be at.
Yeah,
you know?
That's my point. Again, we're going. Okay, I just always think how the risk curve works, how you start here, and then so that's what my point is with institutional interests is we're going to start going further down the risk curve. Okay. Not saying treasuries are more risk, but versus a Bitcoin ETF, it probably is. So yeah, Apexi you just brought up. I mean, they first large scale pipe for an altcoin treasury and could have chosen any token. That actually comes from that was a statement made by the chief strategy officer of Apexi. So like. Yeah, he basically said, I'm just going to take some of his statements here. He basically said they view Bitcoin as the best monetary asset and Solana as the best high performance blockchain. It's really that simple. So,
yeah, I mean, you can't argue that.
Yeah. And he even flat out, this is flat out in a tweet. He even said, and this is, everybody would probably agree with this. Didn't go with Bitcoin because it's a $2.5 trillion asset and the fifth largest in the world. It's unlikely to 5x anytime soon. Not saying long term, but he says it's not.
Right.
It's unlikely to 5x. It's not going to go from, whatever that would be like. Let's say 600,000 or something like that this year. You know what I mean?
At some point, it'll be at $500,000, but it ain't going to be,
at some point, exactly.
Yeah.
So Solana, by contrast, is 4% in the market cap of Bitcoin, has potential to 5x over a shorter period of time. Simple as that. So he just said, second, there are 50 MicroStrategy copycats. We'd rather be, and this is to your point, rather be a first mover.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing stuff around the space and just kind of looking into this. I took a couple of examples, and one, I've actually talked to these guys and looking forward to maybe even getting them on the show because I think they got some good conversation and some insight. We got DeFi Development Corp and DeFi Dev Corp. You guys see them around, holding 1.2 million in SOL, running validators and exploring staking. Now, those guys are doing a MicroStrategy on Solana. These guys are. They're a lot of fun to talk to. They know their stuff, and they're just crushing it. Like I was watching it, or not watch. I was reading through their account last night, just like taking some notes on it, and just blown away. You can get them on RWAs, or you can just simply go buy the ticker. These guys are opening up the playbook for everybody to be involved, and that's to me is like again first mover advantage, opening up the opportunities to everybody, not just traditional FI. You have the DeFi section. Now we're coming in the middle. If you look at their actual logo, it's a bridge that goes from one side to the other. And when I was talking to them in one of the Kaizen space with all these DeFi or Solana DeFi products, that's what he said. I was looking at he was explaining it, and I was looking at his PFP. I was like, bro, your thing is a bridge. That's exactly. He was like, yep, that's what we're doing here. We're bringing DeFi and traditional finance together. We're creating that opportunity, and I mean, that's a lot of Solana to hold. 1.2 million Solana.
That's a lot.
So congratulations to them, by the way, because they show up. It's not like one of these big corporations that you can't get in touch with. Like that's the one thing I think is really exciting is you could be an everyday person and get involved with these guys in conversation, show up to their spaces and stuff like that. You typically haven't been able to do things like this. And again, that's to me, if you're, a younger person looking to trying to figure out what you want to do, like start looking at like what is available that wasn't there before, the opportunities that are here now, where most people today, they still think you got to go to school to be an investor. It's like, no, you can really just kind of learn this stuff here. Like that's how I did it. I worked construction for 17 years and one thing happened with Doge, AMC, GME, and I was like, hold up a second here. Started teaching myself how to trade stocks and options, and I was like, oh, there's a whole nother world out here. What is going on? Like they didn't teach us this, and now it's here. Now you're seeing it in everyday conversation. You're seeing it, on your timelines. You're seeing it across all these social media platforms. And one of the things is it's an attention economy, but it's the age of information, and it's just abundantly available. And you're seeing things like SOL strategies. They're stacking up. What is this? 40 or 400,000 SOL. Bit mining announced plans to raise.
Yep.
Yeah, and we got Bit mining announced plans to raise 300 million to build a SOL treasury. So there's a lot of people looking at this and making moves, filing everything. It's just let's
And
see
I
what
feel like
October
if I
brings us.
remember right, I think, and I could be wrong when I say this, bit mining might have been one of those that was, I mean, clearly judging by the name, I'm going to guess you can figure out what they probably did originally.
Yeah.
So, and we already know of another company that's moved from Bitcoin mining into now is just building their Ethereum stack. So like there's already starting to get to be companies that are like, I just think of the mining as one good example. And this is just, I didn't even think of this till just now when I was looking at bit mining.
And once you said that, it popped off my head. I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah. It's another aspect to institutions where, okay, we've gotten so many years down the line where how profitable is it for them to mine versus going a different direction? Mining Bitcoin. It's just because the mining difficulty obviously just goes up and up and up. So like, you know, it's a little bit harder to make profit on that. So anyway, yeah, in this particular case, like you brought up, they announced this just happened last month. They have plans to raise 300 million to build that treasury. So people are looking further down, you know, and that's the overall point is you start here and you got to start looking at other areas. Solana is just the next chain to look at.
Yep. They're not small moves, man. This is real capital being allocated to Solana. And if it goes, you know, straight into staking, and a lot of it goes straight into staking. That's the point that we're making this. It strengthens the network. You know, we all know that. You know, staking, everybody pretty much knows it supports the network, and that's kind of where it stops at. But it provides sustainability and sustainable yield to these companies. It provides a longer runway and financial security. I mean, I know there's volatility, but we're looking at bigger pictures. We're not looking at swings within a couple months. They are braced for that kind of stuff. You know, most people expect that to be, you know, the roller coaster, but we look at the bigger picture. We zoom out to the week chart. We start to see, you know, I can't deny that this thing has been chopping, waiting to break out. And once, you know, people position themselves again, to what's that the guy that was talking about the company with Bitcoin, it's unlikely. Is that you, Pexi? He was saying it's unlikely to 5x.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
Pexi. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, we're in a position now and everybody's seeing it. It's like, okay, this is undervalued. Back in Accelerate, you saw Kathy Woods. She's from ARC. She came out and she was speaking on stage talking about her interest in this because she's been watching it from the whole FTX, you know, scandal and the fallout, watching Solana go all the way down to $8, but then seeing the influx of developers, influx of users, the influx of people building and, you know, figuring out what they can do here, because it wasn't a dead chain. It was just a response or a reaction. And then the response is rebuild and build stronger. And I mean, when you see big names like that are household items when it comes to traditional finance, talking about DeFi and getting involved and getting in bed with that, we've seen the numbers. You can watch the wallets. They've literally made programs that just copy trade ARK investment. So I think that it strengthens the network. It provides a little bit more of a window of opportunity for the retail than to see it. You know, it'll probably be on the news more likely when you see these names talking and investing into it. And that's where people will be like, man, I'm late on Bitcoin. Let me check out this Solana thing.
And maybe at some point they're going to say, man, I'm late on Solana.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we kind of, you know, covered all that. You want to jump into Bitcoin on Solana a little bit? Got some topics, some things I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit on there. Let's take a quick break real quick. I want to take a look at Marinade Finance. We got a little clip right there, you guys. We've been talking about staking. Marinade Finance, again, it's probably it's the best option in my opinion. Completely biased, but let's take a look and I'll show you guys why.
I was glued to the charts. Every dip felt like the bottom. Every pump, just the beginning. But it never was. I lost sleep. I lost some soul. Then, I lost myself. Until I didn't. There was another way. I didn't have to chase green candles. I could make my soul work for me. Marinade staking. Instead of betting on meme coins, validators were competing for my stake. Hundreds of them, competing for the highest rewards. But not everyone gets my stake. Only the best earn it. No downtime, no shortcuts. Sam automatically delegates my stake to the top validators. Miss the APY threshold? No stake. Underperform? Bonds protect my rewards. And the best part? It works for both liquid and native staking. It's time to stop playing the game and start stacking wins. Minimize risk, maximize rewards. Marinate staking.
There it is, guys. Staking made simple. I mean, it's pretty evident. One of the things I was listening to in the Soulflare space with Nikki yesterday, the biggest thing that he wanted to stress was the most wealthiest people that he's seen in the space and the people that he's talked to being in the position he is, they stake their Solana. Most of it is all staked. The adverse of that, people trying to get to that point, they barely have any stake. So I want to ask you guys, do you guys get your Solana staked? And if you're worried about it getting locked up, you have instant unstaking with Marinate Finance. So go check it out, guys. You will not be disappointed. If you got any questions, hit me up in the DMs on the timeline or jump into the space, or my daily or GM chats. We can always talk about that. But I want to talk about Bitcoin on Solana a little bit and give some love to the Zeus network because I absolutely love what's going on. When I talk to more and more people about it, they're like, damn, that dual asset accumulation strategy is pretty good. We got some good memes now. It's getting even better. But here's where Zeus network comes in. And this is why the show is powered by them. Institutions already trust Bitcoin as a treasury asset, but native Bitcoin doesn't do much by itself. It just sits still. With Zeus Network, Bitcoin can be brought onto Solana as ZBTC. It unlocks everything Solana has to offer: staking strategies, DeFi yields, lending, liquidity pools, you name it. We're seeing more and more coming, popping up on the timeline, getting me excited. Even saw some, some hints at some meme coins, some decentralized exchanges backed by ZBTC. So we'll see what happens in the future. But think about it. Instead of just holding Bitcoin passively, the institution could swap it into ZBTC and earn yield across Solana's platform. That's a huge unlock for institutions, and it positions Solana as an execution layer for Bitcoin liquidity. I mean, that right there, I mean, that's the pitch, right?
Yep. I mean, that's again, there's a bunch of different options that we can't even sit here and go into all of them. I mean, you can just go down the line and think, okay, yes, you can just do a simple lend and borrow and things like that with your Bitcoin on Solana. But you can go to loop scale, and there's just all these different options. We'll say, again, risk curve on what you like to do with it. There's just so many options out there. I mean, you can take it a step further than just let me go get another 1 to 2% on my Bitcoin now. Yes, you can do that, but you could take it a step further than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. I mean, you also have the BTC Soul option for Solana guys that are, I'm behind on my Bitcoin bags. Well, here you go. You can automatically dollar cost average. You just stake your Solana, same exact way you would do it for Solana yield, and now you're going to be receiving ZBTC. Let's go ahead and play that real quick, just because it's queued up perfectly.
The lob, Zion's there. Plays it ahead of board. Looking the lob.
All right, it's pretty much that simple, guys. You go ahead and take your Solana or your MSOL, very specific to that, and exclusive to that right now. There are some ideas that there might be some other LSTs down the line, but right now, when you go to BTC Soul, you have two options to stake for Bitcoin on Solana. I mean, that's what makes this all connect, right? We have ETF bringing access, we have treasuries bringing credibility, and then Zeus brings the utility. Together, they create a serious institutional use case for Solana, and I don't think that people are going to look the other way. It's just like, okay, yeah, that's a layup. Let's go ahead, pass me the ball. It's a shoot my shot kind of thing, right?
Yeah. And again, it just depends on each person's risk curve here, or where they're at on the risk curve. But if we're finally at a point where we can do something with our Bitcoin and do it on Solana, like I said, the options are growing. There's many different options on how far you want to take it into DeFi. So it's assuming you all own some Bitcoin, or at least trying to. if you are still trying to, there you go. BTC sold's your easiest way.
I tell people when they have meme coins and you 3 or 4x a bag, take the 2x, swap it into ZBTC, put it in your ledger, and forget about it. Just simple as that. Like, you weren't expecting to have that money. You hit it, got a little lick right there. Put it into the ledger. Let it just sit there, and then your BTC soul, you can just continuously add to that. And I mean, the story is like clear now. Institutions are no longer on the sidelines. ETFs are coming. Treasuries are stacking. So Bitcoin's finding new life on Solana through Zeus. This is why we're seeing this surge of institutional attention and interest. I mean, it's evident, but I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think we covered all of this. I don't know if you want to touch on it anymore. If we want to jump into the charts a little bit.
Chart's good with me.
All right. If you got yours queued up, I'll go ahead and get the screen share set up, and we'll start rocking and rolling and see what we got cooking.
1 second here. Why is it? 1 second. I'm not sure why it's not giving me the option there.
To share?
I mean, no. I have the option to share. It's just not doing it in the way that I would have expected. There we go.
See, this is why we need our engineer behind that. And if you guys didn't know, Gravy took a sick day today, and it's all good. That's why we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm going to chalk it up to that.
Exactly. I've actually got a weekly chart pulled up when you want to.
Yep, I'm getting it up right now.
Interesting thing for me will be, I know I'm not the first. I'm sure somebody's probably talked about this the last few days. We got a bit of an SFP. For those that don't know what that is, that's a swing failure pattern. Now, I'm not calling for a bear market, so don't jump to that conclusion yet. But
Jules a bear.
I'm just saying it's failed on that swing up. So generally speaking, for example, here's that you could call this SFP, but generally what we're doing is we're hitting, it's about peaks and valleys. So I don't think anyone would be surprised. I'm sure the rest of the market right now would assume that this is what we're going through by now. But yeah, I would assume at this point, our next here, obviously we have to use former resistance as support first. As always, market structure before anything else. So here's the first area. We have this FEG to close yet, of course, but we could definitely tap into some of these previous upwicks for liquidity. I would just say that's first and foremost. So as a target, we're probably looking at least a little under 112 to 110 probably.
Yep.
And then we'll just see if we close the FEG from there. But anyway, obviously, grand scheme of things, this is not like a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it is for some of your bags out there, alt-wise, but it is what it is. So, yeah, that's basically what I had on Bitcoin. I don't know why this one.
I want to pull mine up just to kind of reference against yours because we've seen pretty much the same thing. But I have.
What happened to Solana?
What's that?
My Solana one's gone.
You lost your chart?
Yeah, it's just like no data. Huh, weird.
So what I've been watching up here, let me move this to a little bit closer time frame. I'm going to put it on the 4 hour. And let me reset this. Reset that. All right. So I've been seeing this, and this is what I've been watching for the most part. This is just something I circled referencing something previously, a price action. But since we broke up through this top right here where we were saying we might come revisit this, we had this channel, we topped back down there, and I had moved this down because of right here where we bottomed out and we bounced again. Mm-hmm. This is such a strong setup in my opinion. We've been chopping basically for 2 months at this point, right?
And that's really the one in the middle. That still looks like kind of like your the channel that you drew, not the diagonal, but the horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
It still looks correct. That just looks like a deviation if you go up a time frame.
Yeah.
Would be my hunch. So I would say that's correct.
Yep. And this is what I was marking over here. You saw, let me see. This is just the circles. You saw this dip down, came back down here, came back up, legged up. And you almost see the same exact pattern where it chops straight across here. I was watching that and I was like, this is pretty similar to that. Let's just see how it plays out. And it looks like it is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so it looks like. it looks like it wants to pick back up on the trend, and that's why I've been watching this target between there. But like you were saying, it could go down to 112, something like that. I wouldn't think that that's crazy to see that little bit of a dip. It comes down, retest these breakouts, the top, so on and so forth. But that's what I see with Bitcoin, and I mean, it matches yours. And to your point, you're a little bit, well, you're extremely more technical than my ass.
Here's one scenario I would like to point out, and I've been kind of.
You want to pull up your chart?
No, it doesn't even need. You
Okay.
can use your chart if you want to go to maybe the
Daily?
daily or weekly. Doesn't really matter. But we could essentially, my overall point is just pretty basic. We could use some chop realistically, especially if you look at the weekly. You don't have to get a lot of chop when it comes to weekly, but if you think about it, we've really had a pretty good amount of imbalance here since April. We have had these little resting periods, but like not a lot.
Oh shit! I just realized the logo thing's in your face. Let me move this out of your head.
Oh yeah, I didn't even look.
I'm sitting here looking at it. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
There we go.
Sorry about that, dog.
So do you have is this weekly? I can't tell what's up.
Yeah, this is the weekly here.
Okay. So basically since April, it's been kind of, pretty much straight up. We had that, that dip below 80K, 70, 73, 74, something like that.
Right here.
In my opinion, that looks like 1, 2. Yeah, we would have like a third leg usually. We've had 2. I would prefer to see chop so that we can really make it go much more. I guess I feel like I keep saying this all summer because this is not normal for summer to go this well. But
it's Solana summer on Bitcoin. What are you talking about?
I guess so.
We waited like 3 years for this to happen.
But so to have that like really hard run in the fall, like we need to chill out. Like
we
already had ETH go, and you could pull that chart up too. I mean, ETH just went.
I'm gonna switch it over to yours real quick.
That's probably the most important one right now because like that literally just went, 3x basically. Maybe not quite 3x, but essentially almost 3x. Or no, it is over 3x.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it is a 3x, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that is just straight up, Yeah,
that's a nasty fucking rip.
And again, we need some chop. We need to chill out, and that's again for the sake of the however long this run goes. I mean, I guess in some ways it definitely can go into 2026, but at worst, if you want a strong fall, Q4, we need this to chill out. So like, I know a lot of people probably think their bags are not in a position for that, but I'd be more concerned if we didn't chill out soon. And I think I even alluded to, I don't remember when we were talking about it. I remember saying something over the it must have been last week sometime. Because it was near the top. I was like, I don't know. This is making me a little nervous. I was like, ETH's gone way too crazy for too long here.
Right.
So essentially all I mean by that is, I'm not a bear in the long term or anything like that. I'm just saying, hey, sometimes you have to chill out in the charts. You need some chop. You need things to calm down. Otherwise you're going to run so overheated that we would just have some massive swing failure pattern in October.
Yeah, if it goes up fast, it comes down faster. That's
Exactly.
usually how it is, and it's going to come heavily, and it's going to wreck people, and that's where people can be like, "Crypto's a scam." It's like, no, dude. Like, it's just the money flow. It's just the way it works. You got to position yourself, and you shouldn't be looking for short terms unless you're just looking for scalps, swings, whatever the case is when it comes to that. Now, Ethereum kicking up, like I think Ethereum has been underpriced for a while, so it does make sense for it to hit those targets. In my opinion, I think that's fair. But to your point, if it goes up that quick, you got to be careful how it's going to come down. There's another side of this that is more of a speculation, more of an opinion. Bottom line, with who we have in the in the House and legislation and these things passing as far as Clarity, Genius X, so on and so forth. All of these things, I think, build a case where this is a new market cycle that we're seeing. It's not going to be the traditional 4-year cycles through there. You might even see longer durations. Like we've talked about, the meme coin super cycle. This just might be an actual crypto super cycle, to that point. You have 3 more years of what's going on, and we've seen almost World War III break out, and that did not stop anything from progressing.
Yeah. And I would say too, and we've alluded to this before, but maybe a better way to look at it is it's not, you take away, let's say, the 4 years, like all these previous things that we are accustomed to. Well, just realize it's a matured market now at this, and I don't mean maturity as in suits. I mean maturity as in like
we're degens still, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean maturity as
look at my shirt.
Time frame. Nice. But maturity as in time frame, as in eventually things get less ultra volatile.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have different assets that are, of course. But so to your point there, I would just say that, everything you think from previous cycles, there's certain metrics that I think are always key, but just basing it off of dumb things like, okay, here was the halving and here's how long I always wondered kind of how long that would actually go, because I'm like, that doesn't, like, what does one have to do with the other? Like, outside of originally the mining point, but outside of that has nothing to do with anything really now. So, like, I always wondered when we'd get there, and we have now. But so to your point, we could go longer. But I also think this is all the reason why you see very short bursts in like the altcoins, because we only have so much liquidity to kind of go in waves there. So we do still need that wave of retail for the alts, but I'm with you for the majors and all that. I mean, I think you don't need to pay attention to 4-year cycles. Pay attention to metrics. I personally like some different metrics. They're available in all kinds of places like Glassnode and things like that. Pay attention to that, and just pay attention to liquidity. Liquidity cycles are probably probably bigger factor, I would say, currently.
Yeah. That's what I've been looking at a lot closer this go around, is just seeing the liquidity cycles and just seeing a difference in it. What the hell is going on? Like my shit's resetting over here. I'm blaming everything on Gravy right now, for the record. But I think we're in a different position than we've seen before. I mean, we've basically, since we were at $8 and we started coming up, like, it just has not stopped being a bull run or a bull market. It's just very strong indicators showing that this isn't the end. Like, it might even only be halfway through. Like, I love this setup that we're in right now, because you have a W forming, you have higher lows, you have a trend, you have support, you're bouncing off of last year's strong points of support and resistance. You've filled the gap, and I mean, my target right now from that gap fill and to traditionally the way it should play out is this should take us to $400 pretty easily, if things move up in that trajectory. And it's just going to be a staircase. I mean, if you look at yours right there at that bottom where it reversed, and you see that it's just working its way up there. And I mean, that low right there, again, that's when we were talking about people like Kathy Woods and the likes of them paying attention to that and saying, hey, what's going on here? These guys, everything crashed, but they're still here. They're hanging out, that they're still building. They're still innovating and creating new products. And it's an incredibly different landscape than it was when I started here. But having the experience and going through those types of things, it's like it builds a more mature market. It's a better understanding of how things work. More of these spaces, more of these streams, more of these conversations, and bringing a community together like that. That makes a better product overall, because you've got a little bit more educated investors, that are typically degenerate, that might have come from just meme coins because of the allure of, 50xing your bag overnight. And it's like, well, that only works a couple times and here and there. And then you start to figure out, okay, well, let me take some of this Solana, let me take this and put it into Bitcoin. Let me put it into the staked, opportunities and tools that we have available. But I just think that overall, it's a good place to be, and you have so many diverse areas. RWA is coming to effect. You have just endless opportunities, and you never know like what somebody's building. It might be next month you see something that you've never heard of before that is extremely, appealing to institutional investors and stuff like that. So we'll see how things play out. Again, we can only look at the charts and tell you guys what we think and our opinions, and it's never financial advice. It's just looking at what we see, kind of sharing our opinions on it, and dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and seeing the way it plays out. Mitigating risk, maximizing rewards with staking is the number one play when it comes to investing here. It's something that typically wasn't available, and you use the liquidity options, you can still play in the market. And I think that is one of the most fun things about crypto for me. I mean, you have so much more that goes down, but that's where it starts for me, and that's where I start to talk to people. It's like, okay, what's the easiest way to explain this? Like, buy, hold, save your cash, but what do you do with it? What opportunities are like? Well, nothing. It just sits in the bank. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Their flip. The only thing people can do is like, secondhand sales or start a business or like try to create something. They have to spend money to make money. They can't just put it somewhere and say, okay, so that's the power here. That's what we got. And DeFi. And I think that, we're positioned very, very well right now, despite any downside. I think that's a reaction, and wait for the response. When
I would also say it's gotten so popular again that I saw the other day this CT mind share. It was some wild percentage, like 60 to 80% or something like that. Of the mind share is in DeFi and AI.
That's crazy.
So I was like, that it never used to be that way. Like DeFi was just kind of like its own thing, like its own narrative, but it was like, oh yeah, why go mess with DeFi? Because like, everybody wants 100x and they want, this and this and this. But now obviously with the markets maturing and things like that, everyone's like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I should be paying attention to all these DeFi options. So yeah. And Solana is obviously the home of that.
Yeah. When I was talking to the dudes last night, I was like, you guys are good at math? Yeah. I was like, you got good grades? You pay attention to your homework and stuff like that? And they're like, yeah. I was like, for real? And they're like, yeah, dude. Like, I was like, all right, cool. You guys are nerds. Perfect. This would be great for you guys. About AI. And they're like, yeah, we use that all the time. ChatGPT. I said, start asking questions about crypto, this, that, and another thing. That'll give you some of the resources. Get on X. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to Bitcoin, and just put those things together. You'll see where they start to, come to one point, and they're like, man, thanks. I appreciate it. But that's to me. I want to be somebody that can help that, because it helped me so much in my life. It changed the whole course and direction of where I was going. And if I can help somebody else and teach them, what is available, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just going to show you the ropes and say, hey, this is the fishing hole. Go throw your line out there and see what happens. And I mean, now we have people that have been experienced. They've been around the block. They're willing to teach. I think we're in a good place, man. I think overall, things are working out. And even if it was a bear market, you still got people like us that are going to be here building and talking about this stuff and figuring out what's next. So I'm stoked. I'm really am. But anything you wanted to close with? We are going to wrap it up. We are at the top of the hour.
I don't think I have anything else.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to play this last Marinade finance clip out. Talks a little bit more about the institutional side of that, and then we'll be out of here. But I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. If you don't mind sharing this on your way out, just getting more eyes and ears on this, it really does help the exposure when it comes to Zeus Network and what they have available for Bitcoin on Solana. Because that's the name of the game here, is maximizing your rewards and finding opportunities that are available that not have been typically utilized. So take advantage of the opportunities, guys. We're going to play this one out right here, and I'll see you guys later.
Marinade started in 2021 at a Solana hackathon. A small, bootstrapped team, pure conviction, and community. We introduced MSOL, the first liquid staking token on Solana, opening the door to Solana DeFi. When the market crashed, we stayed. When others pivoted, we doubled down. We grew with the Solana community, the ones who showed up, staked in, and believed. We didn't just build early, we built for the long haul. And we've evolved. From MSOL to native staking, from wait times to instant unstake, from open access to high-quality KYC verified validators. No smart contract risk, no shortcuts. Just secure, audited, non-custodial staking. Institutional-grade experience with retail accessibility. Because we believe fine infrastructure should feel like fine dining. And Solana just tastes better with Marinade, the best staking rewards, slow cooked since 2021. The chef's hat stays on.